I'm gonna have to play the music, man. Shark, we don't have music, my guy. I can't hear it.
Oh, my bad. Well, I'm hanging out. Let's
It's all
ride.
good. I'll do it. Doom, 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 doom. Boom, 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 doom, 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 doom. Doom, 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 doom. What up, my guys? Welcome to another show, man. NBA Talk with Jay Money and the Shark, man. We're back here today. We're trying to get some cash. We know how to bet the NBA, my guys. It's time for the Sharps to come through, my guy. Shark, what's up with you, man? How you doing, my brother?
Taking a breath in Florida. The background obviously speaks for itself. It's a gorgeous, gorgeous Thursday morning, Thirsty Thursday at that. January 5th, 2023. A new campaign it is. Great to be back. J Money, 4 games on the card today. A lot to discuss. Let's get in there and let's dominate.
Yeah, let's get in there, man. I appreciate everybody for tuning in. Obviously doing the live shows again, once again, 11 o'clock a.m. Eastern, my guys. Even I have to get used to it, right? But let's get some cash here today on the board, man. It's always a pleasure to do it with my guy. We're back. We're trying to get some cash, man. Let's go over here to the streets of Orlando here. 4 games. We're going to talk about them, give out the top plays, and we're going to get out of here. Magic getting 7 points at the house versus the Memphis Grizzlies, right, Shark? Grizzlies coming off a blowout win yesterday versus the Hornets. Magic coming off a nice win yesterday as well. They will likely get Suggs back here. I'm not sure if that means that the Magic have a good chance of covering, but they do get Suggs back. They get Franz Wagner back as well from the suspension. So Magic starting to get healthy. I know I don't want to lay points on the road. This Magic team isn't the Hornets, right, Shark? So how are we looking at this game? Do you think the Grizzlies are an easy bet here to smack the Magic up here on the road?
No, I don't. And I think, as you mentioned, obviously, Franz Wagner coming back, Jalen Suggs, dude out at Gonzaga. But I think there could be a little disruption there. Early. But in terms of the game line, this spot is all over the Magic. And I think interesting stuff is developing here. This is a very unique environment for both teams. This is actually the first home back-to-back of the year for the Magic. They have had other back-to-backs, but they were all road, or some sort of road and home travel sequence. So home back-to-back is a unique environment. And you go through Memphis. Memphis has been very effective on the final leg of back-to-backs. They are actually 3-1 ATS in this final leg spot. The early season Memphis roster and schedule found them in an environment where Jay and I both had this game correctly, taking Dallas early season.
Smoke City.
Absolutely. Memphis was on a road back-to-back. They had just not covered the previous night at Houston. They went into Dallas and got obliterated, 137-96. So that was their only road back-to-back of the year. However, this is vastly different. This is road on the East Coast, within the Southeast. This is not a divisional rivalry game with a line all over Dallas. This is more of a Memphis lean for myself early. I'm waiting on rosters, but I am looking at Memphis early here. And I said this last night when I took Memphis at Charlotte. Memphis really is repeating what they did last year early at the East. If they covered in your gym early last year at the East, they're doing it again this year. They hammered Charlotte last year. They hammered them again. They hammered Toronto. They hammered them again. They got the Knicks, and they got Detroit on a Sunday going back about a month. And I think what you're looking at here purely is a look to Memphis early. One final point on this. Psychologically speaking, I was actually talking to my guy Philly Sharp about this last night. The Memphis Grizzlies, you're finding a very unique environment in professional basketball, which rarely exists. And what it is a roster of guys under 25 years old who are a legitimate title contender, who want to blow out bad teams because those are their peers. Right. Most contenders are always 28-35. They don't give a crap about the bad teams. The Grizzlies are elite. They have amazing camaraderie, and they're in the same age window as these guys. So they want to take it to them. It's the best environment you can find for a team like this. I'm looking at with extreme significance Memphis early. I do think they come out again. This could get tight late. I will be finalized on this afternoon.
Yeah, I couldn't talk you off, my guy. Yeah, it's a tough one for me. Me personally, I don't want the Grizzlies on the road. Only 6-13 against the spread on the road, but you definitely make some good points. Obviously, that's full game. Obviously, you're looking for them to come out early as well. And if Suggs does start, they can really throw off the chemistry. I must say it's a tough one for me, man. I'm not really looking towards backing the Grizzlies on the road. That's just me personally, though, my guys. Like I say, I left money on the table with it yesterday. They smacked up the Hornets, but some things I just got my rules, and I'll keep going with them, man. So I love the Grizzlies at the house, not so much on the road. Full game. If I had a free play on this game, full game, I'd probably be taking the Magic plus the 7 here, guys.
Yeah.
Let's head over here to the streets of Dallas here, guys. We got the huge game here, interesting game, intriguing game here. You got the Mavs getting 3 points at the house. What have they won? Six straight games, 7 straight games, and they're getting 3 points at the house. Why, Shark? What are we doing here? You got the Celtics. Now, I think we could talk about this game for 10 minutes, Shark. What do you think is going on with the Celtics? Because I know me personally at the beginning of the season, I really thought them missing Udoka would matter. The coaching didn't matter at the early of the season. It was the players that were hyped up, right? That has kind of ran out, and they're kind of at the point where the coach needs to regroup them. I want the Celtics here. I bet the Celtics first quarter 3-way money line last night, minus 111, and I like first quarter, first half here, Shark. But I am a little worried about Missoula losing a little hold of this team. But we know that this is a pure bounce back spot. I could only look towards the Celtics here. But what do you think about the coaching aspect and the psychology aspect of this, Short?
I think it's a bit of a coin flip, honestly, because I think that, as you mentioned, Joe Mazzulla was not supposed to be the coach of this team. He is very, very young. And, we discussed this, obviously, going back to our previous broadcast, point guard, West Virginia, 2010, very reputable guy. However, this was supposed to be Ime Udoka's team. But I think a key point, Jay, if we go back to last year, you got to remember, Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown, these guys, they're only 1 year older than they were last year at this time. And what were they last year at this time? Very, very inconsistent. And they found their win late. And I think that truly, I think they're just hitting a bit of a lull here, where I think ultimately when you're 21-5, that pace is very unsustainable. And I think more specifically, they haven't performed very well at the West. Obviously, they burned me early season or slightly earlier at the Dubs. And that does segue to my top look of the game here. We are looking at Boston first quarter and first half with significance. I'm still waiting on a final line, but it is the official play here. I will be posting this as the line becomes official in my book this afternoon. But again, you have to really go through a very specific schedule sequence that we found Boston on a West Coast trip last month. They had played 2 consecutive awful basketball games at Golden State and at the Clippers. The third game in that sequence, they found themselves in crypto.com against the Lakers, and they did come out with a very inspired first quarter and first half, 37-24 first quarter, 65-50 first half. And crucial point there, that was a national game on a Tuesday night. This is a Thursday, but it's a similar schedule spot. And you go through Dallas. Dallas, in my opinion, is flirting with a loss and a disaster. Jay knows this as a fan and a professional handicapper, but if you really go through this, Dallas has laid 2 road eggs against Houston in the last 10 games. The last time they came back off a dud at Houston, they played the Lakers, and the Lakers came out and hammered them early. They haven't been great early off road trips in road game 1. We've talked about this all year. The best spot for Dallas early, exclusively, and I mean exclusively at home, is against West contenders. Blowouts against Memphis, Golden State, Phoenix, Portland, and Denver. Boston is not that. Boston's pissed off. They just got their ass kicked at Oklahoma City, 150 against. Starters are going to come out here juiced the hell up tonight, catching Dallas in a tough travel spot, teetering downward towards a loss. Top 2 looks will be official on Twitter this afternoon. First quarter and first half, Boston. Jay, talk to me.
Yeah, I like it. I'm all over this shit. These are the only plays that I could take in this game, guys. And even further than that, Shark, Mavs off 2 days rest as well. And I looked at them off 2 days rest, and they usually drop either the first quarter or the first half as well, if not both. And even full game, this team is 0-6-1 against the spread last 7 games playing on 2 days rest. So that's even more intriguing to me. They had to come back versus the Houston Rockets. They were down 20 points to the Houston Rockets. The Mavs team, in my opinion, is teetering on a loss. This is also a game where they could really miss Dorian Finney-Smith. You guys know I know this team. Obviously, this isn't the Mavs team of last year. They don't have Brunson to take the load off of Luka. It's Luka and everybody else. It's kind of like the Bucks over there. If you can kind of stifle Luka and make the rest of the team beat you, I know they still got Tim Hardaway Jr. They can get hot at any time. Spencer Dinwiddie as well, but they're not in their zone right now. Christian Wood's playing some good ball, but this is a matchup I like for the Celtics. Brown and Tatum come in here pissed. Marcus Smart should come in here pissed. This is a game I don't even care about the coaching. I do think I'm worried about the Celtics long term, but in this particular spot, coming off 2 straight losses, man, and a national TV game, they were probably already looking ahead to this game. You know what? The Superbook gives you the option to take to one of these teams to be winning by 3 or more after the first quarter. I believe I'm going to take the Celtics plus 135 to lead by 3 or more at the first quarter. I already took them last night on the 3-way money line minus 111, which means they have to have the lead. I see the Celtics being up by at least 5 points at the end of this first quarter. I think they come out here and smoke them first quarter, first half. I'll go official with Celtics first quarter minus the 1, first half minus the 1.5. My guys, that's what's out there. Those are the lines. I think it's going to be a trifecta spot for the Celtics. I don't see them losing 3 in a row. The Mavs are teetering on a loss as well. I think they moved to 0-7-1 against the spread with 2 days off. So floating ahead, Jay Day, goddamn me. Let's go, man. Celtics trifecta spot. Let's go. Let's go over here to the streets of Houston here, Shark. We got the Rockets here getting 6.5 points. The aforementioned Rockets getting 6.5 points here versus the Jazz. I don't want the Jazz on the road. I don't want the Jazz laying points as well. They had thought they just won the game on the game winner. It was turned around. I'm not betting the Rockets, Shark. What do we do with this game, man?
I don't know. It's a good question. It seems like a lot of people are betting on Utah here. This line was at 5.5 last night. Overnight, it got steamed up to 7. I don't know who's betting it. They're welcome to come out here and talk to me and tell me what's going on in this game. But this game finds a really difficult spot, which we discuss all the time. And what is that? It's when both teams are in the exact same environment. Both teams here come in on 5-game losing streaks, identical losing streaks, uncannily. And as you mentioned, Utah on the road laying points is difficult. Recent history has seen Utah lose a ton of tight games. But if you really go through their road calendar as a favorite, it is limited data as they're not favored on the road very often. They did cover at Detroit. Again, key point at Detroit. Detroit not hosting the West very well. More specifically, at San Antonio recently, they did lay 4.5, 5 points and lose outright, 126-122. If you really go through Houston's schedule here, Jay, Houston is flip-flopping on back-to-backs. Houston did lay a complete egg at New Orleans last night. They were down 20 points very quickly. I think Houston should come out here with more life. We talk about this in back-to-backs all the time, the reversal of the game flow. Of course, that doesn't apply to Memphis tonight, but I do think Houston will come out with more focus. This is a revenge game. The teams did play back-to-back games against each other early season. Houston did win at home and not cover on the road. It was very, very tight. I believe in that particular game, Utah was laying anywhere from 7 to 8, depending on your closing line. When that was 7 to 8, and this comes in around 5, it's very stock. Both teams in the same environment. I do think psychologically the lean here would be to Houston early. I'm not on it officially, however.
Yeah, I'm so far off this game. One thing I don't do is to take the Jazz on the road. So it's 2 things here, a combination of things. You don't lay points with the Jazz and you don't take them on the road. It's not saying that it will never cash, guys. It's just saying that it's not a winning proposition, if that makes sense. It's not a winning bet. And that's what we're trying to be on, things that are winning bets, right? So, and it's going up to 7 now, man. You kind of start to wonder if somebody's out for the Rockets, right? It is a back-to-back. We could see them possibly resting guys like Eric Gordon. He's a cancer to the team. You know what? Mike just said something there. If Eric Gordon is not out here today, the Rockets might play a whole lot better. He doesn't want to be on the team. The team, they can't stand this guy in the locker room, man. They can't wait to trade Eric Gordon, really just playing him so that they can kind of audition him or whatever. But he probably won't play here on the back-to-back. That might be good for the Rockets. I don't want to go anywhere near bet them, but you guys remember my theory about the tanking teams. When they at home, they have this respect for the home teams, right? You at least want to show up at the house. And I kind of started sense something from the Jazz that maybe if they know they're not going to make the playoffs, I'm just saying, man, maybe the Jazz are starting to revert to the Jazz that they're supposed to be down. But I know for a fact I'm not laying 7 points with them on the road. It's pretty simple pass for me on this one. Shark, another intriguing game. The both TNT games are intriguing tonight. You got the Nuggets here laying 5 points at the house versus the Clippers, man. Really great game, Shark. What you think about this one, man? Nuggets look like they want to go to the finals, my guy.
Yeah, and I think you make a great point. Great game oftentimes does not necessarily mean great game to bet. I think when you find a competitive game and really a playoff style game within the West, it's going to be tough. And I looked at this game. I thought to myself, I'm looking at Denver. I like Denver, obviously at home way more than on the road. But I'm looking at the Clippers. Clippers in a revenge game. The line is getting steamed down. This has come down to 5, just as much as we said Utah getting steamed up. It seems like money is coming in here on the Clippers. Clippers did lose by 10 at home. Denver was a small favorite there. They opened up at 5.5 here. This is going to be really, really sharp, in my opinion. I don't really have a good angle on this game. Of the 4, this is the one that I really don't have as great of a lean.
Yeah, I mean, I have a lean. I just don't know if I can get there. I want to take Clippers here. They're off 3 straight losses. The Clippers is a top tier team. They're a top 3 team in the West, in my opinion. You just got to put it together, man. It's the only thing I can't stand. Paul George, Kawhi, in and out of the lineup, man. You can never really get a good flow unless you play these guys. Kawhi is in for sure. Paul George with a little hamstring strain. Obviously, hamstring is nothing you really want to mess with. And if he really does, that's the other thing. We don't even know if these players are actually injured. Sometimes they just saying, they just want to get them some rest. I guarantee you that happens with the Clippers because they just want them fresh at the end of the year. But regardless of that, I want to take Clippers here plus the 5. Obviously, you need Paul George. Obviously, if he's in there, the line's going to move. I don't think the Clippers should be catching 5 points here, man. So let's just look at it. They've lost 6 out of the last 7 games to the Denver Nuggets. They've lost 3 in a row. They lost 6 out of the last 7 to the Nuggets. They've lost 8 of the last 10 games versus the Nuggets. You got to come in this game as a benchmark type of game. Like, let's see where we're at on this season. I can only take Clippers here. Personally, I do think Paul George tries to suit up here. This is a huge game for the Clippers. Like I say, if they can win this game, they can feel really good about themselves. They're coming off 3 straight losses as well. Other thing I don't like, they were coming off a 5-game road trip, 1 home game, then back on the road again. So this is the 7th straight game in a new arena, not necessarily bet on situation. It's tough to bet against the Nuggets at the house, guys. I'll tell you this. I want to take Clippers. I think Paul George plays. This Nuggets team has shown me something else. 14-3 at the house. Straight up, I'm like, I can't bet against the Nuggets at the house. But Clippers plus the 5 would be my play. I feel like if you like the Clippers, go ahead and take them. Because if you like them, then you saying, all right, Paul George is going to play in this game. So Clippers would be the play in this game. I hadn't got a haircut. I do need a little lineup, but I like the Clippers here, Short. That's the only way I could look, my guy. What you think? If Paul George plays, do you think I see this being like the Suns-Cavs game last night? Then they keep it close. What you think?
Yeah. I mean, I do think that's a bit of a different game. Obviously, last night with Donovan having dropped 71 the previous night, and obviously being horrendous last night early. But I do think when you go through this game, the real counterpoint, I agree with everything you said, and this is why it becomes a discussion and probably not an official take. There is enough counter to the other side. I don't love taking the Clippers fading Denver off the road loss at Minnesota. And I also don't particularly love taking the Clippers against Denver. Denver at home, more so than just the large scale data point, against the West, they are far better than they are against the East. If you really go through their recent games, real tight one against the Heat, did hammer the Celtics, an impressive one at that. But you start to go through these other games, win by 14 against the Grizzlies, very impressive. 13 Blazers, very impressive. They did get Phoenix straight up. I don't think they covered that game. Jazz 5. Go back earlier this year, they took care of business twice against the Rockets when theoretically they shouldn't have cared in those games. It's just going to be tough stuff. I don't really know what to make of this game. I wish we could have talked about the Memphis game more. I had more talking points on the Memphis game, actually.
Yeah, I mean, hey, if you want, we can go back to it. But yeah, Clippers, for me, that's the only way I could look at this game. I know the Nuggets been hot. They're coming off a road loss. They're really playing inspired basketball right now. But Clippers also coming off 3 straight losses. And I'm pretty sure when they look at their history versus Denver, they're going to say, we need to come in here and win this game. I could only look towards Clippers. I actually think I think Paul George plays. I think Clippers win this game. It's a tough one. We'll see what happens. But if Paul George plays, that's very indicative to me to tell you how the Clippers are treating this game. If he plays, they're treating this like a playoff game. If he doesn't, then they're kind of just like, we'll still try to win it, but let's just see, you know what I'm saying, where we're at, my guys. But that's it, man. But yeah, sure, I guess if you want, I mean, we get to the free pick sections. That's when hey, say whatever you have to say more about that Grizzlies Magic spot, my guy. I don't have anything else in that game, so it's up to you what you liking on tonight's card, my guy.
Yeah, I think really interesting stuff here with Memphis, and I want to talk about this for at least another minute. I was looking at it last night. I was looking at Memphis, obviously, on the road, and I mentioned this before. I follow them on Twitter. Their guys just have a great vibe about them. This is hard to find, and we talk about this with teams like Atlanta, who have a young core, and they're talking about moving their guys, firing their coach. Memphis is the polar opposite. They have the right coach, the right leader, the right role players, and they have 4 deep that are probably all-star caliber players in their early prime. But really important stuff here. If you go back to last year, on January 4th last year, Memphis was 25-14 straight up. As of last night on 1/4/23, they were 24-13 straight up, almost identical record. And then I looked at the next cluster of games. After 25-14 last year, they went 30-9 in the next 39 games. So I think Memphis is about to jump the hell off. And you had mentioned they've been lackluster on the road, but I think more specifically, that's at the West. Memphis is actually 4-0 ATS last 4 against the East. Their only non-cover in the last 2 months against the East was at Washington. They have gotten these teams. Orlando, conversely, has been very good at home against the West. But again, key point here, I really think Memphis just turns up in these spots. And I thought that was an interesting point, being on the exact same record basically as last year in terms of the jump off point in the final 2/3 of the season. So I'm looking early there with significance. Jay talked about it. Suggs coming back, some roster moves. Obviously, Orlando also came out scorching hot last night in a revenge game against Oklahoma City. That was a big-time high for them. That was more of a one-off high than it is for Memphis to sustain their ability to come out at a high-class level at these opponent types. I will be looking at this in slightly more detail in terms of the line and posting on Twitter, looking at Memphis with emphasis early and Boston first quarter, first half, both official. I haven't placed the bets myself. Very juiced line. I was a little confused by it, but we're looking at it. It's sharp. It's a top look. Will be posted on Twitter. Jay Money, a pleasure. 22 minutes in the books. Thursday, January 5th, 2023. Close them out and let's dominate.
Yes, sir, man. Let's get some cash, my guys. For me, yeah, Celtics first quarter -1, Celtics first half -1.5 as well. That's what I'm on, guys. Nothing super heavy, but it's bounce back Jay spot. It's a float head Jay. Going to the streets of Boston here. I'm in the arena right now, man. I know that they're in Dallas, but you know how they have those little fan games when the playoffs on the road. That's what we're having right now in the Celtics arena. We partying in this motherfucker. Yeah, give me the Celtics. Man, like I say, if you can get that alternate line as well for them to win by 3 or more in the first quarter, +135. I also think that's a great bet. The Celtics to come out early. That's when you want them here. If they don't come out early, that tells you everything you need to know about the state of the Celtics and their future, in my opinion. This is a huge game to show where the Celtics will go for next season. I know it's just one game, but come on, you just gave up 150 to the Thunder, my guys. Give me Celtics early in this one. I do believe they cashed the trifecta here. Let's go, Lucky, my guy. Let's get this cash. But if you still like get a shirt as well, man, it's still running the promo. 50% off shirts, merchandise over at the site. Use promo code We Will Win over at jmoneyismoney.com, my guys. If you still like to get a shirt, the good luck shirts, I call them, man. We appreciate everybody for tuning in. We will win today, my guys. Let's get some cash. Also, lean Clippers as well, +5. That's the only way I can look in that game. Denver's been red hot, but some tells me Clippers treat this game like a playoff game, and I do believe that they can really hang with this. I had the number closer to 2 with Paul George in there, so let's see what happens. It's a pick 'em type of game, in my opinion. I'm not laying those points with the Nuggets there. Let's see what happens, my guys. We love to do it for you guys. We appreciate your time. Please hit the like button, subscribe, and also drop your plays in the chat or in the comments below, my guys. I want to see what you guys are betting, props, all that good stuff. I may ride with you. Let's cash, my guys. We're out.